Hi fiddlers, I'm Reynolds here with Session 1 of Free-Fiddle-Workshop version 3. It's October 28th, 2014 here in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I'm going to follow a document I wrote and I'm going to jump up to page 4. I listed some changes that I've made from previous versions, but I'm not going to cover those now. I'm going to just jump up to page 4 for the introduction and welcome. I'm Reynolds. I am on a mission to spread fiddle music. All documents associated with this workshop are marked copy left, not copyright. Spread the news. Download them, change the name on them, put your own name on them. That's fine with me. Just don't mark them copyright. In the text, I have a Dropbox link that you can download all these documents. Previous versions had incorrect instructions on downloading the documents, and I'm going on to page 5. The purpose of this workshop is bow control. We're not going to play any notes on any of the exercises. All the exercises are going to be on open strings. The first order of fiddling is to get the bow under control before you do anything else, and that's the subject of this workshop. I'm going to have gaining control of the bow is the most non-intuitive movement in music. I will have follow-up videos that teach how to play notes, and session 9 will have instructions on the left hand and arm, how to position, and some note playing guidance. My qualifications: I'm Reynolds. I am the world expert on what's wrong with fiddle playing. Technically, I've been playing for 36 and a half years. Spiritually, I'm just getting started. I finally figured out some bow movements that work, and I'm passing them along to you folks. I took a total of 20 years of private lessons from 4 different instructors. None of the instructors showed me how to move my arm. That's the subject of this workshop, how to move your arm. The purpose of this workshop is bow control. Fiddlers, bow control should be the first order of business when learning this instrument. Before you learn any grip, before you learn any notes, learn how to control the bow over the strings. That's the purpose of this workshop. The workshop highlights are, I'm going to include 2 practice methods with version 3. One practice method is a Doorjamb. I just recently had this practice method revealed to me. Pretend I'm in a doorway and this microphone stand is a Doorjamb. To teach your forearm to do most of the movement, which this workshop teaches, place your upper arm against the Doorjamb so that it can't move, and forcing your forearm to do all the movement. The second practice method that will be demonstrated, these practice methods will be demonstrated in sessions 6, 7, and 8, is use a large mirror. To monitor your perpendicular plane, stand to the side. The bow should travel along a perpendicular plane. To monitor the perpendicular plane, stand at an angle to a mirror where you can look exactly at that perpendicular plane instead of trying to estimate it. Previous versions said to estimate it, but look in a mirror at the perpendicular plane, and you will be able to get much more control of your bow. I'm at the bottom of page 5, workshop contrast to classical methods. Fiddlers, there are some YouTube videos by the late 20th century violinist Yehudi Menuhin. I think I'm pronouncing that closely anyways. I highly recommend to look up his videos. I'll include his name in the text. His classical video tutorials are excellent. He does not teach the same style that the workshop teaches, but I highly recommend taking a look at those. He teaches stuff that I was never taught in 20 years of lessons. Demonstrations at the bottom of page 5. Here's what we're going to be learning, fiddlers, and I'm going to stand to the side. This is the most non-intuitive movement in music. The full long bow on a fiddle violin. On a full long bow, I'm going to start out with the upper arm, and it's going to switch to the forearm. You have to switch muscles right in the middle of a bow stroke. That's not only taught in this workshop, but that's also taught in these classical methods. And for this is the most important and most challenging skill to a fiddler. I'm going to stand to the side so the camera can take a look at this perpendicular plane. I'm not perfect at this. I'm just grabbing the bow. I'm placing the bow down on the strings, and I'm going to start off with a down bow on the E string, the most difficult string to master. A string, D, G. With power and control, able to stop and start any time. That is the most important skill in fiddling, and I recommend that fiddlers, you master that before you do anything else with the fiddle. A secondary objective, I'm on to page 6 now. A secondary objective taught in session 6 is a subset of the full long bow, the partial long bow. The partial long bow will take place only string contact will only be in this portion of the bow. Many hoedowns can be played entirely in this area, and for this, the upper arm only moves to change strings. All of the bowing power is by the forearm. So now, just with the bow at the tip, near the tip, my upper arm will not move. Just the forearm, I'm only using about 4 inches of bow. A, D, G. Primary sub-objective number 2, also a part of the partial long bow, is how to change strings. This is also taught in session 6, how to change strings without making a sound. So we get the proper arm position on the E string, move the bow to the A, to the D, to the G. Just rocking the bow back and forth. Bow is always solid on the strings. No sounds should be made. This is how to change strings during a song. Session 8 will also, I'll demonstrate 2 shuffles. I call that a secondary objective of this workshop. The workshop value, fiddlers, this workshop can save you years of practice time. I have 36 years of fiddle playing, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm just getting started. I spent 33 years practicing the wrong arm movements. If you practice the wrong arm movements, you will never improve regardless of the number of hours you play. If you practice moving your whole arm while somebody else knows to just move the forearm, you're going to suck. So regardless of the number of practice hours, practice the right things, and that's what this workshop teaches. The value you get from this workshop is it teaches you how to practice. Chin rest comments, I'm on page 7. This workshop recommends a small chin rest on the back right-hand side of the fiddle, not the left-hand side. For the purpose of this workshop, fiddlers, I know that probably nobody's going to show up with a chin rest over here. Go ahead and put put the fiddle up on the collarbone. On the non-chin rest side, don't do this for an extended period of time. Version 1 taught to not even have a chin rest. Well, after 6 months, my chin pressure on the body of the instrument forced the seams to need regluing, and I affected the varnish. So don't play without a chin rest for an extended period of time, but for purposes of this workshop, for a couple days to decide if you want to use the style, go ahead and put the back right hand portion up on the collarbone. Chin rests are easy to install. I'm on page 8. What does it take to be a fiddler? Fiddlers, the session 7 exercise, which I demonstrated, the full long bow in both directions, that's what it takes to be a fiddler. It doesn't take that long to learn. It's extremely non-intuitive. Very few people are taught that. But that should be your first order of priority, is getting control of the bow. If you can play a slow, clean, smooth note, cleaner than me, I'm still practicing that exercise. If you can do that, you can learn to play anything. I'm on to page 9. What is fiddling talent? Fiddlers, for decades, I thought, as most people still think, that fiddling talent was some special gift imbued by God at birth, some spiritual or physical gift only given to very few. And I've changed my tune after 36 years. Now I'm claiming that fiddle talent is nothing but knowledge. But this knowledge is very non-intuitive. Very few people have this knowledge, and that's the purpose of this workshop, to spread this knowledge. Just about if you watch the good fiddlers, they don't put a lot of effort into their fiddling. They're not doing anything extraordinarily physical. It's not extraordinarily fast. It's not extraordinarily powerful. It's just knowing exactly what to do all the time. You have to know exactly where to put your arm, E, A, D, and G, and you have to know exactly how to move your arm. That's all fiddling talent is. It's very learnable. Tips for watching other fiddlers, I'm on page 10. When you watch other fiddlers, watch how little their upper arm moves. This applies to both the classical and this workshop style, or any other fiddlers. On this dude's violin tutorials, tutorial 4, he says the same thing about classical violin, that you use just the forearm when the contact of the bow is near the tip. And fiddlers, for a non-classical example, look on YouTube, find Michael Cleveland videos. Michael Cleveland is a blind fiddle player, and watch how he's probably the hottest fiddle player on this planet. Watch how little his arm moves, yet he plays the fiddle with such accuracy, speed, and clarity, it'll just drop your jaw. Look up here Michael Cleveland's videos on YouTube. Tips for taking fiddle lessons. Fiddlers, if you want to take lessons from somebody, I took fiddle lessons. I took 3 years of private lessons prior to my 17 years of fiddle lessons. And those lessons mostly consisted of going through books and playing different songs every week. That's a waste of time. You're just playing songs poorly, lots of songs poorly. What fiddle lessons should involve, they should involve correcting of technique. And number one technique is getting control of the bow. During my 17 years of fiddle lessons, whenever I tried to talk to my instructor about bow control, he said, I don't care how you bow. Well, I care how you bow. This workshop cares how you bow. And if you look at this dude's videos, he cares how you bow. Get the bowing under control and get your techniques improved. There's some people that teach this instrument consider these practice methods and these methods to be trade secrets. Don't tell a trade secret to me, because I'm going to put it on the internet. I'm going to skip over the 7 playing challenges. I highly recommend that you download this document and read the playing challenges and also the attitude challenges. I'm going to skip over that and go right to expectations. Fiddlers expect to not be able to complete any of these exercises satisfactorily during the workshop, but do expect to be able to complete these exercises with practice. You will leave this workshop with the knowledge that you need to master Session 7 exercise. For the grip, I talk about grip at the bottom of page 13 on the top of page 14. I recommend to learn arm movements before you practice a grip. So all the exercises in the workshop up until Session 10 are just grabbing the bow. We just place the frog against the flat part of the palm, just close the fist, keep the thumb off the horsehair. Just learn the arm movements first. The Session 10 talks about grip options. I do not recommend the conventional grip. I do recommend a grip I developed called the claw, and my grip is very tight. Now, classical teaches a very loose and flexible grip. I teach a very tight grip. I'm squeezing with the thumb, the index finger and the ring finger and the pinky, and these 2 fingers are draped over the bow for counterbalance, but also it allows me to get an angle backwards, the bow angles backwards, so I can have my arm further back. I talk about that in Session 10. At the end of the session, caution, notes are not music. Fiddlers, to really become a fiddler, this workshop teaches how to play notes. Music is rhythm, not notes. So to become a real fiddler, have the notes become automatic, and then you can concentrate on rhythm, and the notes will take care of themselves. I'm Rock Reynolds. It's been a pleasure serving your fiddle educational needs. See you fiddlers in Session 2. Rap with you later.